What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Thank you for stopping in. Today, we have an exciting unboxing to dig into coming in from CJRB. Before we get started, make sure you are subscribed here to the channel. I release new knife and EDC content every single day. Hit that thumbs up button. That helps push this video out there to more people. And let everyone know what you're carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. Love seeing what you guys have in the pocket for the day. Thank you to CJRB for sending this in for us to take a look at. Now, this is a knife that I requested to check out from CJRB. This is called the Lago, and it's one of the only button locks. Now, I did get to check one out briefly a couple months back, but that was about it, and I wanted to get a little bit better feel for the knife and have it to compare to some of their other button locks, because the brief time I had with it, it was a really solid folder, and these are coming in at a very low price at this point in time compared to what they were, say, a year ago. This knife is probably going to be 40 to 50 bucks, I'm going to guess. And I love the finish on this knife. We have that satin blade, nice cutout. It is going to be in RPM 9 steel. And then we have that nice choil as well as a flipper tab. And CJRB's button locks are extremely solid. If you're new, CJRB, in the budget world, 50, 60 bucks or under, they put out a really solid folding knife. We have a nice deep carry clip there, and it's going to carry nice and deep in the pocket. We do have the ability to switch this over to left-hand carry. The springs are nice and strong in this knife. If you're dilly-dallying around, you may end up missing the deployment. So they got this thing, from what I remember, it was good, but this is maybe even better. So they may have refined these as time has, went on. We have black G10 for our handle material, and they're going to come in quite a wide variety of different colors and variations. Now, if you want to know the size we are looking at, we are talking about 3 1/8 inch of cutting edge, about 3 1/2 inches total, and then about an 8 1/8 for our total length. While I'm thinking about it, let's check this edge. And, here again, if you're new, or maybe even if you're not new, people have their opinions of RPM 9. And it's just the way that it goes with any steel, for that matter. But, there's people who love it, and there's people who don't like it. I fall in the middle, really. More leaning towards I like it up into a certain price. I've never had any issues with RPM 9. I've never had an issue with it staining or corroding. I've never felt like anything was not tough, right? That this was a weak steel by any means. And I've been buying CJRB knives for the last, 5 years or around in there at least. Before RPM 9 became a thing. I remember buying the original Feldspar in D2. And then it wasn't long after that they went to the RPM 9. So I've been buying RPM 9 since the start of it. And I know it's gotten better since the early days, and I don't have much left from them except like one knife that is an early RPM 9. Some have been sold, some have been given away, so I don't have much to compare to, but I haven't had, at the $40, $50 mark, or the $30 mark, like this Pyrite Light is going for right now. It's a good steal in that price range, 30, 40, 50. At that point, and at a certain price, you have to decide what are you looking for, right? What's good for me might not be good for you, and what Joe Schmo's commenting, what's good for him might not be good for you. So you have to kind of decide, You know, is it D2? Is it 14C? Is it 10CR? You know, RPM 9? What is it? And why? You know, so like for me, for instance, I prefer stuff that is a little bit more stainless, right? Corrosion proof or corrosion resistant. Now, I do buy some knives that, you know, are tool steels and have the ability to corrode fairly easily. But with that being said, I've had some tool steels in here with satin blades, still have some to this day, like M4, you know, steels like that with satin blades that I haven't paid real close attention to in regards to making sure it's not spotting, and I haven't had any issues. But, you know, I tend to lean more towards something that has good stain resistance, but that's not always the case. And, you know, when we're talking about this price range, and typically what somebody's in this price range for is they're looking for something that can be a user for them, you know, in their daily life. Now, is that going to be dedicated for work? And what kind of work? You know, is it just going to be just a daily, whatever you kind of run into type of thing, use it here and there? So if you're looking for a casual EDC knife to do basic cutting tasks throughout the day, you're not cutting hundreds of feet of cardboard every day, right? RPM 9 is going to be just fine. And for tasks even more so than that. But if you're just buying a knife to have a knife with you as a daily cutter, then RPM 9 is going to be just fine. I think people get too bent out of shape about things. They get lost and get their perspective kind of gets hazy, I think. You know, and that's the thing we need to continue to do is keep things in perspective. We can't compare RPM 9 to certain, you know, S90V and more premium steels than RPM 9. It's not fair to the steel, but in comparison to, you know, what's around it, it's a pretty good steel. It's good, you know, and I would say in regards to what's around it, it's probably in the top tier with 14C and like Nitro V, and now 154 has kind of went into that group as well in some cases. So, you know, or it's at the top of the second tier, depending on what price. You know, if you're getting it at $30, that's one of the best deals on the market for the RPM 9 Pyrite Light. $30, that's an insanely good deal. And for not much more, you can get different knives like the Pyrite, regular Pyrite series, the Warney, the Bowie, the Riff, and all the other button locks and knives that they've had come out over the last year and a half. The Cord. So they've had a lot of cool knives come out over the last year and a half. And this is one that I felt like was kind of a sleeper for CJRB. This came out in a time where I don't know. It was a different time. And I think had this come out recently, it would have gotten a lot more exposure. A lot of things don't tend to get a lot of exposure these days. And once something has come out, you don't get to see it a whole lot after that. And that's one reason why I like doing those group videos of older folders. That way newer people or people who have even been around might see something they haven't seen before. And that's the goal of those videos. And I get told that time and time again. So it is definitely worth doing those. That way older knives can get brought to light just like this one. Do I need to do a video on this knife? No. Did I need to ask for it so I could do it? No. There's plenty of videos out there, but I haven't seen anything on this knife, you know, since last year probably. So I think it's awesome to bring knives, great knives, back around, you know, and when you bring them back around, they might be even cheaper or quite a bit cheaper than they were, you know, when they first came around. So the next thing we'll do is we'll check that lock. We are going to be perfectly centered up there. Very good. And like I said, the springs in this thing are very nice. The flipper tab has some nice jimping on it. Most people will be reverse flicking this, and it's absolutely money for that. It's a good size. It's in the size range I like. You know, I prefer this. You got that nice long handle and a nice amount of edge there. So I enjoy this size right here. And I like the blade shape a lot. That nice low drop point. It's like a modified drop point. Could be a modified Warrenclyffe, modified sheep's. I mean, you could call this a number of different modified blade shapes, but let's call it a modified leaf-shaped drop point. We'll call it that. But very solid. And let's check. There's no up and down. And there might be a little bit of side to side, but that could be cured with a turn of the pivot possibly. We won't do that now, and that's not a cause for concern anyway. And we're not getting the whacker out because I have faith in this one. My foot's busted, and I don't feel like getting it. Yeah, this thing's nice and solid. I think to this day, I haven't had a CJRB or artisan knife at this point button lock fail on me. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I haven't bought or received a button lock CJRB knife and that lock has failed. So that's a pretty impressive feat. I've handled every button lock from CJRB except for that mini, I think it's a mini pyrite or whatever it is, the real small button lock. But from CJRB all the way up to artisans, premium stuff, I have not had a single button lock fail. So that's a good testament over the last year and a half for CJRB. You'll have to let me know, what do you think of the Lagos here? I love hearing from you guys either way. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Always appreciate that. It really gets these videos pushed out there to more people. If you're new here to the channel, let everyone know so we can welcome you accordingly. And make sure you are subscribed here. Hit the bell. That way you can be notified anytime we release a new video. I will put up a couple of newer videos here, and here. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I will catch you on the next one.